I'm Kelly Kessner with Investors Watchdog University, and welcome to the second meeting of Investors Watchdog. I'm here with Pat Huddleston, who is the author of the book we're going to be talking about today called The Vigilant Investor. Hi, Pat.
Hey, Kelly. Thanks for having me.
This is what you would consider, this book, The Vigilant Investor, is what you would consider, I guess, the textbook for the series of classes we're doing, but you're not going to hear reference to this book all throughout the classes. This is more of an informative or educational effort instead of a marketing effort, but I do want to go into it in a little bit and let Pat tell you a bit about his work.
Yeah, well, the book came about, Kelly, it's sort of the next natural extension of what we were doing at Investors Watchdog University. As I shared in the first episode, I felt like I've got a calling or a passion to get out there and spread the word. I feel like the astronomer who knows there's an asteroid on the collision course with Earth and needs to tell people. And there really is incredible danger out there. And so we started with Investors Watchdog. Our next step was the blog, which is being well followed, but I started thinking, all right, how can we reach even more people? And so the Vigilant Investor is what came out of that.
And the Wall Street Journal called this a very fascinating and valuable read.
Yeah, I got that around Christmas time, so I felt that was a wonderful
nice
Christmas gift. I was very, very happy to get it, yeah.
Well, you talk that this is something you have a passion for and you enjoy educating people. What are your credentials so people know to listen to you?
Sure. Well, no, I started out working for the Securities and Exchange Commission as an enforcement attorney, doing insider trading cases, market manipulations, Ponzi schemes. After a couple years, I took a promotion to enforcement branch chief, which essentially just meant that I got to supervise a lot of very impressive enforcement attorneys doing the same thing. Left the commission in 1996 to come back in a private practice to represent investors one-on-one directly to help them recover from the kinds of things I'd seen at the commission. And then in 2006, I became a court-appointed receiver in an SEC fraud case. So I'm the guy who shows up at the fraudulent business, knocks on the door, hands over the court order and says, "Party's over, pal, I'm taking over." And so I get to sit in the chair of the guy who used to be running this worldwide scheme and read his email and see how it came about. So I've seen this from a lot of different vantage points. And of course, since 2007, been blogging every single weekday on another investment scam. So I feel like I've been swimming in this for quite a while.
And I'm sure you share these stories throughout the book.
I do, and I think that's what's gotten some good reviews. It's really not your average book. It's 40 separate stories of actual cases that we tell in order to try to get the message across. The bottom line is people learn best through storytelling, and so we based the knowledge that we pass along in the book on actual stories.
How is the book organized? Is it just story by story, or is there a specific breakdown?
Broadly in two parts. The first part is about what we call the wide world of fraud, and you take a look at the scam artist playbook there. I mean, we things that you never would have anticipated. But part two is about the securities industry, because let's face it, that is the way that most people in the US are going to interact with the investment world, through the investment industry. And so what people are going to find out in part two, oh my goodness, are some things that they never would have expected are true about the investment industry. I tell people all the time, at the SEC, I got to see into the dark corners of that industry, and let me tell you, there's some very scary things in there.
And due to your experience in seeing into those dark corners, you're asking people to start thinking about the securities industry in a completely new way, aren't you?
I really am, and it's never been more important that they do so. I mean, the statistics are really, really telling, and that is that baby boomers turn 65 years old at the rate of 10,000 of them every single day. And so they're approaching retirement, and their parents are already in retirement, and for reasons that we'll discuss when we get to that segment of the class, are more vulnerable than you can even imagine. And so the time has never been more important that people step up and realize that they can do something. And let me close with that. They can do something. There really is a solution to this problem that we're going to be talking about at the end, a way that ordinary individual investors, if they band together, can actually turn the tide, kick the scam artists off the landscape, insist that brokers be ethical, and really do something that no regulator would ever be able to do on its own.
Well, it sounds very important, Pat, and stay tuned. That's all we have for today, but we'll be sharing more of his information and highlights with you in future classes. Until then, class dismissed.